first order of business.
The consent calendar.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the consent calendar in its entirety.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Public hearing application for a second-hand license, Sandra Gaines, a.k.a. Shanna Gaines, DBA Vintage to Vogue, 489 Thames Street.
This is a hearing. Is there anybody that would like to address this application?
Madam Chair, I make a motion to close the public hearing and approve the second-hand license.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Application for a new sidewalk cafe license, Scratch LLC, DBA Scratch Kitchen and Catering, 88 Broadway.
I make a motion to approve the new sidewalk cafe license for Scratch.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Appointments to boards and commissions.
Yes, we have two appointments, two vacancies within the Historic District Commission. I make a motion to appoint Joseph Babcock Jr.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. I also make a motion to appoint Max Ricci.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Resolution regarding regional economic development.
Yes, this is a resolution requesting funding for a presentation made by the Newport County Chamber of Commerce at our last meeting. It has to do with a regional approach that will benefit the city by working with the Chamber in our neighboring communities of Middletown, Portsmouth, and Jamestown, and identifying potential sources of revenue through federal, state, and private sector, nonprofit, and foundation funding opportunities. It's also going to provide a resource for existing local businesses and encourage business retention and expansion, as well as developing marketing strategies and programs to promote potential new business development to the area. I move passage.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I raised a number of questions when we had the presentation last meeting, and my concerns still remain. I did meet with Erin Donovan, the new head of the chamber, and we discussed it, and she was certainly more than willing to listen. But at the moment, the proposal stands that it would be a formation of a new group that would need its own new funding of an annual $400,000 a year budget, which at this time doesn't have a plan as to how that funding would happen, which makes me concerned that somehow the city would be sort of possibly obligated or somehow required to help significantly fund this. And she did acknowledge that there were still questions about the long-term funding. It also does come across in my mind as competition to the chamber and competition to what we have developed at the City of Newport with our own economic initiatives and civic investment. There was discussion that perhaps instead of being a separate entity from the chamber, which would be competitive, as Jody mentioned, it would be better if this was sort of under the umbrella of the chamber, and instead of creating three new positions within its own executive director, formation of an arm of the chamber might in fact be a better solution, but the current proposal that they have is not that. So at this time, because of those concerns, I'm not willing to support this. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes. Councilor McLaughlin.
as we know, we received yesterday an email that Paul Carroll, our Director of Civic Investment, sent to Jody Sullivan on the 25th of June. I just want to emphasize 2 points that...
Microphone, Justin.
Yeah.
Is it on?
It's no matter how much I talk... Wait.
It is working.
All right. This is a challenge. To repeat, Paul Carroll sent us an email yesterday, which he originally sent to Jody Sullivan on the 25th of June. And there are 2 concepts in it that I want to touch on. One is his discussion of what's called a comprehensive economic development strategy. I took some time to go and do some research on that, and I found it a very informative process. I think it's a process which, whatever happens with respect to the group that's being formed, they need to do, and that's what Paul has suggested as well. The second point that Paul makes that I think we need to emphasize, and it's part of the basis for my concern, is organizations like this fail because they don't have mid and long-term funding. I think we have a problem about short-term funding right now. We're looking at substantial funding requests to the city of Newport, the town of Middletown, and then smaller requests to some other communities in this group. It's not nearly enough money to provide what they need to move forward, and it's not clear how they're going to get the rest of the money. I'm just going to cut to the quick and say I think that where we are today is premature. There needed to be more work done on laying the foundation for what it is they want to do. For my sense, and I am a strong believer in regionalization, I'm a strong believer in economic development, but it's not clear to me, where this organization fits, how it aligns with what the city of Newport is already doing. I think there's still confusion about what this group is going to do relative to the Chamber of Commerce. And I think there's a little bit too much focus on the creation of the entity itself and not on what they're going to do, which is economic development. And I think all of these things can be worked out, but I'm not prepared to vote to provide that funding tonight. If I sense there aren't 4 votes on the council to support it, which I think there are, I would vote to continue this so that we can get more answers to our questions. I would point out that Mr. Carroll asked that we have a workshop, and I think it would have been beneficial to the council to have had that workshop rather than just the presentation we had at the last meeting. Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Councilor Segley.
I see this in a bit of a different way. I see this as this regional, this is an opportunity to work together and to build on our strengths. And I see that the communities that work together and show their diversified strengths could possibly bring more economic opportunity to the area. So I am going to support this $25,000 initiative, and I think that if we're not happy with it next year, then we will not fund it. But I think it's worthwhile giving it a try. Madam Chair.
Yes, Councilor.
I find that I agree
Microphone,
with,
we're trying to improve the sound quality of the videos, so just try to be mindful of the microphone.
okay, working. I find that I agree with Councilors Neville and McLaughlin. I think that this is an initial amount of money. I don't think there's a long-term plan on how to carry it on. And I also think that we have in Newport an economic development person, and we're working hard, and it kind of filters out rather than pulls in what we're trying to do.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Councilor.
Madam Chair, I'd like to just to paraphrase Paul Carroll's email from June 25th, and I see where my fellow councilors have a certain degree of hesitation to approve this. However, I see the city of Newport as the leader, for Newport County and for the region in addressing one of the major concerns that Mr. Carroll had, and that was buy-in at the state level and buy-in from private organizations. I think if we don't approve this, I think we send a negative message to the plan and to the concept. Therefore, I would encourage the vote of a yes for the $25,000 appropriation. I believe that that's the spark that the state and the private organizations will be looking for. I think they're looking for leadership on our end right now. So I would say vote yes.
Sorry, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Just to be clear, the city gave this group $20,000 last year, and this would be the second payment of $25,000.
Correct.
I also would like to point out that they were very integral in the receiving federal funding for Sheffield School. They worked with Mr. Carroll, and, you know, personally, I think in terms of regionalization, we are too small a community to do it by ourselves. I think it's important that we work with the others. I understand the lesser amounts for smaller communities. However, the major driver in this community is Newport. I do think the long-term planning, I agree in some ways with Councilor McLaughlin. We want to see the long-term, and I think part of what they had said to us last week was they wanted to go for matching funds through some foundations and eventually be able to sustain themselves without coming back to municipal government. Anytime that we can be proactive in terms of economic development, job diversity, working with our sister communities, I certainly would like, I would be supporting this effort. I would like more information in terms of perhaps how it's structured and the long-term goals, but I think the initial amount is reasonable, and I do believe that they have the wherewithal to pull in the state, the federal, and other funding sources. There's been many meetings with the Economic Development Director of the state right at the chamber, and he is very excited about Newport County. I think this gives us kind of a placeholder in getting some of that funding that could diversify some economic development here.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Just one more clarification.
Sure.
Again, back to my hesitation. I would support this if it was actually a growth of the chamber, because it was the chamber that helped with Sheffield and stuff. But what's proposed is actually the formation of a brand new group, not part of the chamber. So I feel like it, as it stands today, the proposal is to create yet another small entity that would need substantial funding. I would be more supportive if it was actually a part of the chamber.
Yeah, I got
So
the impression it was under the auspices of the
The way
chamber, but
would-
I understand what you're saying.
As it's proposed, it's separate from the chamber. So that's one of my strong hesitations.
Yeah. Is there any other comments? Well, I'm wondering if, are we ready to vote on this? Okay, I am too. Yeah. All in favor of the resolution to provide the $25,000 contribution from the city of Newport, and we're also directing administration to identify the source of funding for the same. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? Vote passes 4-3. Thank you.
Second reading of an ordinance amending Chapter 10.24.010 entitled Parking Prohibited at All Times in Designated Places.
Yes, this is an ordinance amending, deleting Jeffrey Road South Side, Ocean Avenue to Alpine, adding Jeffrey Road either side, Ocean Avenue to Carroll Avenue. And this is prohibiting parking at all times in designated places. I move passage.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Action number 5421.
Madam Chair, the Director of Finance recommends the City Council opt out of extending the current 21-year amortization for the Municipal Employee Retirement System, better known as MERS, to a 25-year amortization as allowed under the newly enacted Rhode Island General Regulations.
Other way around.
It's the other way around.
Okay.
They're-
Excuse me. Okay. Fiscal impact, simply put, Madam Chair, while the current 21-year plan requires a $227K increase, beginning in fiscal year 2017. It will still save the city over $7.8 million between fiscal year 2015 and fiscal year 2044, and we will reach our 80% funded target by 2026 versus 2029. Therefore, I move approval of maintaining the current 21-year amortization along with accompanying council resolution.
Second.
And opting out of the,
25-year.
there's a motion and a second. Discussion. I just want to say, we've gone through this so many times, and when I read it, I couldn't believe it. 7.8 million is a lot of money for us to pay out to go to 25-year amortization. There were so many years when we thought our pension funds were amortized and going down, and they weren't. Now that we have been on a schedule, 21 years, you know, our pension has been well taken care of by our finance department, and I certainly support opting out of this recommendation to go to the 25 years. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Action number 5422.
Madam Chair, the Finance Department recommends amendment number 2 to the service description number 6 dated June 30th, 2012, by and made part of the agreement between Velocity Technology Solutions, Charlotte, North Carolina, and the City of Newport, and dated August 23rd, 2007, to expand and extend the hosting and support services of the City and School Department Enterprise Resource Planning System, or better known as the Financial Payroll System, to Lawson for an increase of $2,119 per month, or a total of $19,117 per month for years July 1st, 2015 to June 30th, 2020. The amount is currently budgeted. I move approval to the contract amendment along with accompanying council resolution.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Councilor
I
Leonard.
I have a question. Why is this contract so long? It's a 5-year contract. It's kind of unusual to have a 5-year contract.
I'm going to let Laura, I don't necessarily think it's unusual, but I'll let Laura comment on it. It's an important cog in our
No, I know that.
financial monitoring system we have here in the city. And well, come on up, Laura, you can probably address it
I guess
certainly
I should
more
say,
than I can.
what's the advantage to having a 5-year?
Laura, could you please, your title?
Yes, I'm Laura Citron, Director of Finance. In this particular type of service, which is a hosting service of financial software, essentially, it's such a long, involved process to make any changes in that, and phenomenally or almost prohibitively expensive, that it makes sense to keep this type of vendor for a long period of time. The reason that this contract is going out to 2020 is because we were able to get them to forgive a little over $50,000 in overage charges if we extended the contract.
Okay, now, does this contract, if we're talking about overage charges, does this contract address that for the
Yes, it
future?
does.
Oh, okay,
Yes, it
thanks.
does.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Councilor McLaughlin?
I just wanted, was this resolution in the published document?
I couldn't hear.
Was this resolution in the published docket? Because we're just receiving it tonight.
I believe the letter
It
of
was not.
explanation
All right, I
was...
just make a motion that we received.
Second.
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 Put it into the record.
Okay. There's a motion and a second to receive the document, put it into the motion.
Okay, we didn't have a
Second.
resolution.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Action number 5423.
Okay, we need to vote on the
Resolution.
original.
5422, yes. Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve action item 5422 with accompanying resolution.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Action number 5423.
Madam Chair, the Department of Public Services recommends approval of a grant agreement with the Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management, which provides 50% of the costs associated with purchasing a new street sweeper in the total amount of $141,000. The city matching funds are currently budgeted. I move approval along with accompanying council resolution.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Action number 5424.
Madam Chair, the Department of Public Services recommends awarding the contract associated with the John Martin Seawall Replacement and Repair Project to the lowest, most responsive bidder, New England Building and Bridge Company of Greenville, Rhode Island, based and submitted on the bid proposal for the associated work. The cost of the work will not exceed the total amount of $428,000. The total also includes $377,000 for anticipated contract construction work, $11,000 for police traffic control that will be paid for by the city, and $40,000 in project contingencies. The amount is currently budgeted. I move approval along with the company and council resolution.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Action number 5425.
Madam Chair, the following action item is for utility pole petitions from National Grid for 3 poles, new poles on Malbone Road, 1 new pole on Admiral Kalfas Road, and 1 new pole on 3rd Street Extension. Staff reviewed the petitions and recommends approval of all 3 petitions, provided that the conditions as detailed in the communications from the Public Services and Utilities Departments are met as follows. First, the Public Services Department notes that there are some conflicts with trees in connection with 2 of the proposed poles, which National Grid must address with the department through the tree permit process. Additionally, Public Services advises that the sidewalk and vegetated shoulder restoration must be completed and pole placement must be in compliance with ADA dimensional and locational requirements. The Utilities Department requires that all dig-safe markings must be completed prior to the commencement of construction and that no changes be made in the field to the locations as marked. Additionally, National Grid will need to contact United Water directly to obtain sanitary sewer and storm drain markings prior to commencement of construction. There is no fiscal impact, Madam Chair, and I move approval of all 3 petitions subject to Public Services and Utility Department's conditions being met.
Second.
There's a motion and second. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
One
Council Leonard voted against it.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to adjourn as council and convene as Board of License Commissioners.
Second.
There's a motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to approve the consent calendar in its entirety.
Second.
There's a motion and second to approve the consent calendar in its entirety. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to adjourn.
There's